Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. Hello from San Diego. It's very, very hot here. Extremely. And they say the heat is going to reach its worst peak this weekend. I think it was about a week ago. I was in Santee and the guy said, "Wow, it sure is nice and cool." And I looked up and it was 97. That's how hot it's been. So, now, this video is, let me get my title correct. "35 Ways to Protect Yourself in the Future Without Telling the Future." So, generally, in the Christian religion, future telling is prohibited. But down through the generations, people are always just dying to know the future. So they go to fortune tellers. That's basically future telling. And recently we have had dreams. People, saying they were having dreams. And these dreams foretell the future. And so there was some dreams. I take them with a grain of salt, but I watch them. I love them. And so there was some dreams, and it was more than one person too. This is the tricky part. And the dreams were a big earthquake is coming to LA, and that was supposed to be yesterday. And an asteroid is going to hit today. So, that bad. So I'm an insomniac and I was up and it was midnight and I go, well, if it goes 1 minute past midnight, then it's not the 21st, it's 22nd. But I was up until 4 o'clock and I watched my phone and yet no earthquake. But basically, I really don't have to watch out for big earthquakes because the San Andreas Fault runs all the way down to the East County of El Cajon. And if there is a big earthquake in LA, we will know it. So I was thinking about these predictions and dreams of earthquakes. Some of them are fires in New York. Some of them are like big riots. And I thought, well, this is really interesting about these dreams. Okay, so now about future telling, there's like ways they work, but one of the ways that they work, and this is documented in the Bible, they will actually conjure up a certain spirit. This is what happened with King Saul, and he wasn't supposed to be doing that either. And then they will foretell the future. But the thing is, the only person who can really know the future is God. So you might be going, well, how do these spirits tell the future? Well, what they do is they tell the past. And you will notice in the Bible, it doesn't give exact dates on, things that might happen, because most likely these things happen over and over again. That's what I think. Now, if you want to start thinking like a demon or a devil, first of all, they're not lovers of Christians. So if they can humiliate Christians, like get them to do some bad stuff and then everybody finds out and the person is humiliated, or if the person goes on the World Wide Web and says, hey people, and it doesn't happen, the devil loves that. That's his MO, to make us look bad. He loves that. It makes his day. But there is another bad possibility. If this person is given some kind of grace, then in the future no one listens to them. And that's bad too. And then generally, if it is something like Noah, no one's going to listen anyway. There was a couple pastors. Listen, people, why is no one storing food? Well, why was nobody preparing for the flood? That's just the way it goes down. So, okay, so the earthquake didn't hit. The asteroid is supposed to hit tonight, but it has to hit before midnight, and that's only 6 hours away. You guys, if I'm killed, I want to thank you all for following me so much, and thank you for your awesome comments, and hello to all my new followers, and I'm sorry I didn't get to know you better. But if not, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, now, so these dreams remind me of, in El Cajon, where I used to live, we had the Uranus group, and they were alien devotees. And if you can find their art, though, once in a while I found some, but it was just too darn creepy, and I had to get rid of it. I had the greatest flying saucer painting, and I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. But like, I couldn't be in the house with that thing. It was just awful. There is some merit to this alien stuff. So the Uranus were alien devotees. In 2001, a huge amount of galactic spaceships was supposed to arrive, but it didn't arrive. But this didn't bother the Uranians. I guess, you know, they were coming from Uranus. So, you know, this is common in alien devotees. And I love the alien stuff. And I was doing the alien stuff, and finally YouTube just got sick and tired of me and took away half of my subscribers. They have done that. That's why you will notice I have so few subscribers, and they just wipe out half if I do something they don't like. But I figured that was liberal, because I didn't lose my whole channel. Okay, now there was another bad one. Sylvia Celeste Brown went on the Montel Williams show and was trying to find out with her psychic abilities if Amanda Berry, who was kidnapped by a very bad guy but nobody knew, was alive. And Sylvia Celeste Brown said no, she was dead. And it was, the mother was on the show. So once again, we want to think like the demon or the spirit, and they love it. Probably the poor mother was so upset, and then everybody watching was like so upset because it was just this young girl and they couldn't find her. So the psychic gave misinformation. So that can happen. I don't think they do it on purpose. I think, you know, it's just you're relying on unreliable sources of information. Dreams are very tricky, and I'll tell you why. Because for some reason the devil has been given some control of the optic nerve. You've heard of that old saying, if I see it and hear it with my own two eyes. Well, even that, you know, is tricky. 35 ways to protect yourself in the future without telling the future. So what I think is the demons tell the future because they know what happened in the past. And this is why it's so bad when they tamper with history. So if you can find books and stuff, and volumes in particular, I would get them and really study history. My dad was a history teacher. I was a hairdresser and I had no particular interest in it, but I see why we should. Okay, so now here's 35 things to do. And I think these things will ultimately protect us in the future. And you don't have to be rich. 1, store gasoline and have gasoline storage cans, like the metal ones. Number 1, store gasoline and propane. Okay, when you are broke, propane can be expensive. I have the barbecue with the big propane tank, so you can store your propane in a big tank. Also out here you can buy stoves that are propane. They're like a big stove, and they run off of a propane tank, gasoline and propane. Number 2, get heaters that are non-electric, because This is year 2 of the grand solar minimum, and it could get really, really cold, and the power could be knocked out somehow, and people could freeze. I'm looking into dwellings with fireplaces and wood burning stoves, even though I live in a very hot area. So heaters, non-electric. Number 3, camp stoves. I need another one. I have one though that runs on gasoline, which is cheaper than propane. One of the ladies at Walmart was telling me those little propane containers cost you about $7. Number 4, generators. Those generally run on gasoline. It's not going to do you any good if you don't have any gasoline. Furthermore, you might need gasoline to evacuate. You don't want to run out of gasoline in the middle of your evacuation, and I'm sure it's happened, and I'm sure it's been fatal. Number 5, water purification. I don't have one yet, but I'm going to get one. But you can use vinegar to purify your water, or 16 drops of bleach. That's why you want to store up bleach to 1 gallon of water, and that is not desirable. But there was a thing, this was horrible. A lady in, can you imagine this, Arizona? They didn't give her any water and she drank the toilet water. Yes. You don't want to get incarcerated right about now. Another thing, a lot of times when they do the evacuations, they'll leave the people in jail. Okay, number 6, cash, small bills, and coins. Okay, strong possibility they're going to refuse to make change. So just have 5s, 10s, and 20s, and then a bunch of change. Don't go trading your change in. Make sure you're always getting a little change, so you have plenty of change and small bills. And then you have to figure out a place to keep it where you can't be robbed. Okay, so cash, small bills, and coins. Blankets, sleeping bags, coats, heavy-duty shoes that can withstand water, socks and underwear, and gloves. What happens, I worked in low-end shops, and what starts happening is you start running out of everything. I mean, I worked in shops, hello, is so-and-so there? No, she's not here. May I take a message? That would be nice if I could find a pencil and if I could find a pen. And it would be nice if there was toilet paper so I could wipe my you-know-what. And it goes on and on and on, like sanitation stuff. So, this one here, socks, underwear, and coats. Number 8, store canned food. I think it's the most valuable, and you can use your canned food for barter. $0.50, vegetables, fruit, and bread. So canned food, anything you can get, and you can use it for barter. Number 9, seeds and plants. Okay, you're going to grow your plants out of seeds. My grandmother had a big table in the back, and it was full of seeds. She would dry them, and then as soon as it was time to plant, they would plant them. And you get the seeds right out of your plants. And then it perpetuates, and if you find a good fruit or vegetable, you save the seeds. 10, sugar. Store sugar, honey, Crisco, and canned meat. Heavy on the canned meat. Canned meat tends to be a little bit expensive. I'm going to come back tonight, and I'm going to take some canned meat out of my stockpile. I'm going to make some rolled tacos. 11, dehydrators, so you can dehydrate food, but if you don't have one, you can dehydrate in your oven at 250. You can even dehydrate in a toaster oven. You can even dehydrate in the sun. You can even dehydrate on the stove, on low, if you have to. Stoves, you know, like the butane stoves, barbecues. Those little hibachis can't be found. I'm looking for one. Number 12, mason jars and lids. One of the pastors has come out and said store mason jars, so I'm looking into that. I don't have any yet, but mason jars are $1 each used, but you can get 11 for $10 or $12 at Walmart, and I don't know if those are acceptable or not. I'm looking into that, but make sure you have to have lids too. And 13, equipment for canning. So actually the pressure canners and stuff are a little bit expensive, but maybe they can be found in a thrift store. 14, fruit trees. Those are going to be invaluable if something happens. Large dogs / dog food. Okay, your large dogs are going to provide you protection. But like in the wilds, we were reading that a husky dog can eat 30 pounds of food. So you need dog food, weapons, you know, whatever weapons you can think of. Also, things can be used like copper dust for weapons. I don't want to go into that because, you know. Okay, 17, bread. Okay, so guess what I couldn't find? Yeast. But I posted a video, Cowboy Ken Rawlings. Get that recipe and write it in your notebooks. You don't want to be running out of bread. That's a good way to hit starvation. 18, cornmeal and corn. Okay, if you have to eat beans, and you have bacon, and you have cornbread, I'm going to be making some cornbread, and I have a little jalapeno, a little diced chilies, and a little canned corn in my cornbread. Walmart. I got to pack my food. I'm packing it. It's very unpleasant. Okay, cornmeal and corn. Because your corn is going to round out your beans and rice. Olives would be nice. 19, toilet paper. Yes. That was the grossest thing. I almost had a heart attack. That is so unsanitary and so damn gross. Okay, number 20, a resale barter store. That means it is your store. Nobody knows you have it except the people you invite. You don't want it common knowledge, so your store, I was working in good shops, and a lot of times the customers were ripped. One guy had like a jewelry store at his house, and the customers ripped the whole darn jewelry store off. So in your barter store, you would have the things we're talking about here. Also, though, you could sell items for cash. You could do a barter store, or you know, a little resale store, but you have to be careful if you go to the swap meet so someone doesn't follow you home. And like the jewelry store, now they got a jewelry store. Okay, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to generate goods and cash money, small bills and coins. When I go to the swap meet, I don't take any large bills, none. 21, powdered milk and evaporated milk. That is like going to be one of the things that you can barter for if times get bad and you have milk, especially evaporated milk. You're going to say to yourself, boy, I sure am glad I met Rhoda. Okay, 22, large bottles of fruit juice. I was shocked when I went to the senior citizen food bank. They gave us 2 64 ounces. I had cranberry and grape. And cans of fruit, like the one I just showed you. You guys, my pear tart was delicious. Look, here's my pear tart. Boy, I sure am glad I made this pear tart. And you know what would be really, really good? You know what would be really good? And this is why you need canned fruit. Look. Yummy. I don't want to eat it right now because I don't want to mess up my lipstick. But if you have canned vegetables, that's always a possibility. And big thanks forever in my dreams because I stockpiled pie crust mix. And then I put a crumble top on the top of it. Large bottles of fruit juice and cans of fruit. You can also make jam with your cans of fruit. You know, put a little on your peanut butter or a little bit on your toast. 23, pork. Just pile your freezer full of good bacon. I was doing bacon ends, but I thought if I have to survive on this stuff, I want good bacon. I got really good bacon at Walmart. Where is my really good bacon? What I did is I dug through and I found meaty bacon. Yes. And it was about $3 a package. And what I do is I cut it in half. And mainly what I use the bacon for is bacon gravy. I love it 100 times more than sausage gravy. And then, you know, I have stuff to make biscuits. Number 24, clothes for 2 years. When I was working in the shops where they start running out of everything, it was horrifying actually. How about running out of underwear? Well, as long as you have 2 pair, you can wash them out at night. But it's best not to go there. I'm going to be looking for my barter store for good deals on underwear and socks, and I will sell them at the swap meet. Number 25. Okay, this is a good one. Baby formula. I think it was last month they had the big cans of Infamil 25% free. If you have a baby, you want to stockpile that up. It's going to be very bad if your little babies don't have a baby formula. Number 26, laundry detergent. I use it for cleaning. I just add a little laundry detergent and bleach in hot water and it cleans up anything. Bath soap, I use Dial. Okay, so you need that to take a bath. Hand soap and body wash. You can use that for shampoo. Bleach gallons. Comet large. Now another thing is if you do like run out of bleach, you can use Comet. I wouldn't put it in my drinking water, but you know, for really awful messes, you can clean it with Comet. Gallons of vinegar, gallons of dish soap. Okay, I had a hard time, but I was probably the only one that didn't know this, and I finally found gallons of dish soap at Walmart. So I probably need about 12 for a year. Okay, number 27, Bibles. You know how bad it's going to be if no one can find a damn Bible? Oh, well, Rhoda, that's a bad word. Yeah, that's true. But I want to have as many Bibles in my barter store as I can. 28, buckets and metal trash cans. Okay, in the day, my grandmother, she stored everything in metal trash cans, and they're expensive now. And also buckets. You know, when people start running out of stuff, they don't have a bucket, they don't have a shovel, they don't have a wheelbarrow, they don't have a pick, they don't have anything. And I feel sorry for these minimal people. You know, good luck to you. May I borrow your shovel? No. You may not. May I borrow your vacuum? No. I mean, go on and on. Can I borrow your computer? No. Can I borrow your car? No. Okay. You're mean. Well, hey. A lot of times these people stood next to me and worked the same exact job. And they had nothing to show for it. I'm not sure what happened there. Still haven't figured out that. 29, fortify your dwelling with bars. Okay, I worked in salons, and if you had bars that covered the front of your shop, your insurance was next to nothing. So if you can find ways, they're expensive, but once you get them, you know, you pull them shut, nobody's getting in. That's the whole idea. Fortify your dwelling with bars, fences, gates, alarms, surveillance, double glass so you can shield yourself from the heat. I have my air conditioner on, it's just too hot. To protect your house from the heat or the cold. So what you're doing is you're fortifying your house with dogs, with surveillance, with anything you can, with weapons to protect your dwelling, to protect your family, to protect myself. Okay, number 30. Create dwellings with extra dwellings in your dwelling. So say if you have a big family room out back and you put a bathroom and some kind of mini kitchen, and you have a garage and you do the same, and you have a few trailers. Now this was my ex-husband, he was big for this. That's how I know about this. And you can rent those if you can find dwellers that are trustworthy. My husband's renters were loyal to the end. They were all at the funeral and they were loyal friends, and they paid the rents 5 days first of all, it didn't charge them that much, but they paid the rent 5 days before the end of the month because they wanted to stay. So like as many of these, so the trick would be that they weren't actually part of the house. You know, these rooms are not actually, you couldn't actually enter the house. But say if you had two that were connected in the house, so, and you had a couple of trailers in the back, and in most places you can do that. So, create extra dwellings in your house. Okay, number 31, eliminate all evidence of wealth or prosperity that would attract people in to rip you off or kill you. Eliminate all evidence of wealth. Number 32, create your own churches with family and friends. There's been a lot of bad stuff that can happen. I am highly suspicious that a lot of these people who caught the COVID went and caught it at church. And you can't blame them for wanting to go, but if it's not safe, it's not smart. Another thing is, if things are not available, you want to create the available within your life, like the store, like the church, like the small group of friends, and we'll get into that in a minute. Number 32, find ways to help the homeless. Okay, you have to be careful with the homeless, but you could give them some canned food or a sandwich or maybe $1 and direct them to places where the help is, like the guy who went to the park. And if I give the person $1, tomorrow they're right back out there. That's the thing. But if I can convince that person to try collecting cans, then, you know, if they were able to get $5 and then collect $3 worth of cans, $8, you know, in 5 days, as opposed to 25, so 40, you know, it's just going to help them so much. Or encourage them to try to find jobs, encourage them to try to find ways up and out of their mess. It's very, very discouraging. Protect yourself from disease. So how? Well, what you would have to do is you would have to pretty much be separatists. In my dad's family, we had a saying, if you don't know us, you don't need to. They were separatists, and they came down 100 years with no disease. They did everything. They were separatists because they suffered a lot of persecution for the polygamy. So what we have to do is we have to go back and say, how valuable is my life? If something happens to me, who's going to take care of my kids? If my kids go and get sick and die, you know. So you have to start thinking about that. Okay, now, vitamin C by a gallon of vinegar big bottles of lime and lemon, alcohol. It is amazing how many people didn't have alcohol during this pandemic, and now it's gone. I used to buy big bottles for $1. Now they're $1.99 for little ones. A&D ointment. When I was a nursing student, you can't do anything basically. So, but you can apply A&D ointment. I swear, I had it covering them from head to toe. If they had the littlest sore, I put A&D ointment on it. And then after, you know, this is like years ago, I'll go crazy if I don't have that stuff. Alcohol and A&D ointment, get it. Pesticide too. Bandages. Okay, basic nursing. Okay, you can learn EMT, basic nursing, and childbirth out of books. Keep your teeth repaired as much as you can. Okay, number 34. Avoid all dangerous places. Avoid, like the plague, anywhere that is dangerous. It's not worth it. Like if you get yourself shot in the forehead with a beanie bullet, those are bullets. If you get yourself assaulted, avoid these places like crowds, protests, bad areas. If you live in them, move as soon as you can. I mean, just put it in the back of your mind. I'm getting into a better area as soon as I can. Okay, now this is the last one, and this is probably the most important one, and that's why I put it at the last, in case you guys didn't watch the whole video, then you weren't going to get the most important point of all. No, it just worked out that way. 35. Try to acquire as many blessings as you possibly can now. So you might be going, you know, if you're doing things just to acquire blessings, I don't see how that's good. Well, you know, just depends how you want to look at it. Now, as the night follows the day, you will reap what you sow. So if you're doing as much good stuff as you possibly can, you are going to reap good stuff. As the night follows the day, you will reap what you sow. So you're going, oh, these evildoers, you know. Don't worry, they will reap what they... I mean, there has been things in my life, and I have said, I will never see this stuff set right. It's impossible. They're just like too bad, and they've been getting away with it. Nope, they didn't get away with it. I had a drinking problem. Yes, I know it's hard to believe, but I acquired one, and it was harder than hell to quit. And I had to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I couldn't quit, and I had to listen up and do what they told me to do. So finally, after many years, I don't know why somebody just doesn't tell you this. You have to help other people to survive. So as soon as you latch on to that you don't have a choice really, the sooner you're going to be safe from drinking. And it has to become such a way of life. So that is how I got that habit off of my back. Although if I'm not careful, it can always get me again. Now, I want to mention the true prophets were versus the not so good ones, okay? A true prophet will feed the poor, cast out demons, and heal the sick. That's what a true prophet does. So now we had an evidence of a true minister, and it was in Lebanon. Pastor Saeed Deb, he was working in an orphanage where they prepare lunch, and he said everyone has to leave, out, and they packed up everything at lunchtime, and he made everyone leave just in time. The bomb came, and you know, he saved everyone's life. That's a true prophet. He was full of the Holy Spirit, and you know, they were hastened out of there. Now, we have a false prophet who was Jim Jones. He lured all of his followers to Guyana, and he convinced them to drink poison Kool-Aid, and they were all killed. He was basically a killer. He was not a true prophet. Then we had, up in the North County of of San Diego, another alien devotee, Heaven's Gate. They all committed suicide and died. A couple of them, though, survived. Remember this. They made holes in their. They put bags over their head and they made holes in the bags. I guess they didn't want to meet the comet or whatever. So that is different. So now this is. So now to remember, in the end of times, they say even the elect are going to be faked out, and it's very, very tricky, because I believe the demons know exactly how to prevail and to mislead and harm humans. Another thing I want to say on this subject while I'm thinking about it is, I have heard this, that the demons are smarter than the humans. I think one of the bones of contention is the demons are not smarter than all the humans, because the demons have been around for a long time, but they're not necessarily smarter than all of the humans. So that is something that really seems to make them very, very mad. So now I want to mention my watch. Okay, this is like an example. This is a cute watch that I bought, and I had listed it, and I wasn't expecting anyone to really want to buy it right away, and so I had to take it off because it wasn't quite ready to go. I need to take it to the lady I take it to and get it all set to go. So if you need money, it is possible to do the eBay business. eBay has been very good to me. Okay, you guys, if you have any good comments, we would like to hear them. If you're new, get a notebook and write the stuff in your notebook, like Cowboy Ken Rawlings. It's a yeast recipe, and there's other good things on my Twitter. You will notice that I have millions and millions and millions and millions of followers on my Twitter from the Mideast. You will look at those people and you will see they have like millions of followers. So that is how the social media is used to reach people to all ends of the earth. That will happen. And so if you have a good comment, sometimes I retweet it over to my Twitter, so my followers over there can have it as well. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.